Good evening. My name's Tracy Craig. This is Alameda County Environmental Health Department community meeting for the 3135 San Pablo Avenue site in West Oakland. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to discuss the corrective action plan or a cleanup plan for the site to position the site so that senior housing can be built on it. Next slide, John. We do have Spanish interpretation, so I'm going to hand this over to John Permani to take us through that, and then we'll get started with our presentation.
Yeah, so we'll have a Spanish interpretation. To listen to the Spanish audio, you can click on the interpretation icon, which should look like a globe at the bottom of your screen. If you don't see that, you may have to click the icon that looks like three dots to pull up the interpretation feature. Once you have the interpretation feature open, you can select the language that you would like to hear, whether that's English or Spanish. Once you switch to the Spanish audio, you can also choose to mute the original audio by clicking Mute Original Audio at the bottom there. I'll now turn it over to the Spanish interpreters to relay those instructions in Spanish.
Para escuchar esta reunión en español, haga clic en el icono del mundo en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla de Zoom y luego seleccione español. Si no ve el icono del mundo, haga clic en el botón más, los tres puntos, luego en interpretación y elija español. Si desea escuchar únicamente la traducción, haga clic en silenciar audio original.
Thank you. Okay, once again, this is Alameda County Environmental Health Department's community meeting for the 3135 San Pablo Avenue site in West Oakland. Purpose of tonight's meeting is to discuss the draft correction action plan, which is simply a cleanup plan for the site, discuss community protection measures that will be taken during that work, and then, of course, the most important part is to get public feedback on the proposed methods to clean up the site. You can see our agenda here. We'll start with some introductions, provide a site overview, discuss the draft correction action plan, again, discuss community protection measures, and then we will open it up for public comment. Oh, and I should also say this meeting is being recorded and it will be uploaded to YouTube for people that couldn't attend so that they can watch at a later date. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through who is participating in the meeting tonight. First of all, Alameda County Environmental Health Department is hosting this meeting. They're the agency that oversees investigation and cleanup of the site. And Drew York is with me tonight. He is the case manager, so that means he's managing the day-to-day aspects of this project. And then also, City of Oakland has a hand in this work. They issued the permit for the site development work. During actual construction, the Bay Area Air Quality Management District responds to any kind of complaints about dust, or you can also call me. We'll get into that later. But there's the number. If there's a complaint about dust, you can call the Air District. And then we have the owner and consultant team. So the property, that site owner that is actually responsible for remediation or cleanup work and redevelopment is Satellite Affordable Housing Associates, also called SAHA. And with us tonight is Nicole Guzman. She's the senior project manager, and she'll be able to answer any kind of questions about the work along with Drew. St. Mary's Center is just their development partner, and I don't believe we have representatives from them tonight. Langen Engineering, we have a couple of people from there, and they are the environmental consultant. And then Craig Communications, I'm Tracy Craig, moderating tonight's meeting, and with me is John Permani. John is managing all of the logistics tonight. So very quickly, the site is actually located at the intersection of San Pablo, Filbert, and 32nd Street. You can see it right there, highlighted in blue. Again, the address is 3135 San Pablo Avenue, and it's located in West Oakland. And then just a quick site overview. You can see the picture of the site itself. It's vacant, and there's an adjoining single-story building. Lots of previous operations were conducted at the site. They're bulleted there. Some of those likely led to site contamination, which is why we're having this meeting tonight to discuss plans to clean that up. to support redevelopment of the property. I do want to stop right here and say tonight's meeting is solely to discuss cleanup and the proposed cleanup plans. It's not to discuss the redevelopment project itself. That project has already been approved by the City of Oakland. And Alameda County is the one that oversees environmental issues to support redevelopment of the property. Okay, and I'm going to hand this over to Drew York. Once again, he's the case manager for Alameda County Environmental Health. Drew?
Thanks, Tracy.
Sure.
So what you're seeing here are site investigations, multiple site investigations that were conducted in May of 2023 and March of 2024. A total of 12 soil borings were advanced up to a depth of up to 5 feet below ground surface. There were also soil vapor pins advanced within the foundation of the existing building. Those are the 4 that are the northern 4 points that you're looking at here. There were also 8 soil gas samples that were collected in areas that did not have a foundation. Based on those results, we're seeing impacts of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, also known as PAHs. That's not a surprise. That's from incomplete combustion. There were some ash pits here due to the bakery, as well as some fires of some structures that were partially burned or burned in the past. And then also based on the soil gas concentrations, we saw a targeted area in soil gas that contained benzene. What you're seeing is in the blue boxes are soil excavation areas anywhere proposed between the surface to 3 feet below ground surface. And that's due to concentrations that are exceeding residential ESLs, which are known as environmental screening levels. The yellow boxes are areas where lead is exceeding state thresholds, but not exceeding federal thresholds. So a class 1 landfill is a landfill that's lined with usually a double liner to catch leachate from impacts that are dropped off there. Next slide. So there's 2 proposed corrective actions and that are outlined in the draft corrective action plan. There's soil excavation, and again, based on that last figure, that excavation could be anywhere between 0 to 3 feet below ground surface or deeper, potentially deeper. And then there is a subslab venting system, which is commonly referred to in this industry as a vapor intrusion mitigation system, or VIMS. So this subslab venting system has slotted pipe that's underneath the foundation. It also has trench dams that prevent vapor traveling on utilities to enter the building, and we'll discuss that later. Next slide. So for the first proposed excavation or proposed corrective action is soil excavation. It's anticipated that 600 cubic yards will be removed from the site. Again, remedial excavation could range from 0 to 3 feet. However, it could be deeper based on conformation sampling and or construction features. Sometimes in this site, there's an elevator pit, so excavation would be deeper. We, as Alameda County, like to see soil that's excavated being directly loaded into trucks or roll-off bins for segregation and sampling. What we're seeing here is, in the pictures here, is twofold. One is impacted soil being directly loaded into the truck, and the second picture, which has the orange excavation arms, is really dust control, and we're very big on that. So what's happening is the excavator is excavating impacted soil and the water is keeping the dust down. So like I said, impacted soil will be disposed off site, and then excavation pits will be backfilled with clean soil that is approved by us before being brought onto the site.
And Drew, I just have a quick question. So when you like direct loading because it is more control, or
Yeah, and
because
it
you don't
keeps
have
the-
stockpiles, or what?
Exactly. We try not to have stockpiles on site. However, there could be in certain cases. Sometimes we'll refer to putting them in roll-off bins that are easily covered. But direct loading is really to cut down on the dust. So the second proposed corrective action is the vapor mitigation system. Again, that's called the VIMS. So historical soil gas samples did indicate there was benzene in a targeted area, and that's in the area of the burn debris. So there will be a targeted soil excavation in that area, and that impacted soil will be removed from the site. Currently, the site doesn't warrant a VIM system based on our review of a few documents that the environmental consultant submitted, and that includes the conceptual site model, the design element selection table, and the risk decision matrix. However, due to the sensitivity of the proposed tenants, which will be senior and I think the tenants are senior housing. So Saha will be installing the VIMS as a contingency measure. The VIMS will consist of the subslab ventilation system that collects vapors underneath the foundation and exhausts them through what you're seeing is a riser at the roof. And you can see that in the picture here. What you're looking at is in terms of the other utilities, those could be plumbing, piping, HVAC, exhausts for commercial kitchens, something along those lines. The other part of the VIM system is trench plugs, and those are to prevent vapors traveling along utility lines from entering the building. Next slide. So here's a diagram of a VIMS system. Right here we see at the bottom this perforated drain pipe, or this slotted piping, and that's really to collect vapors that are coming up from the ground before it passes through the foundation. So from there, it collects, and then it goes up into a vent riser, and the movement of vapors is through a process called convection, or the stack effect. And with temperatures, with colder temperatures and warmer temperatures. So we know that warm air rises, and then it's expelled out through the vents on the roof. Next slide. So as I mentioned before, we are very, dust management and community protection is a very big portion of what we like to see. So again, you can see a more dust control in this first picture here, which is somebody watering the excavated soil to keep the dust down. So direct loading, like I said before, trucks into trucks for offsite disposal. If there is stockpiles, they'll be required to be covered, and they'll until waste characterization results are in from an analytical laboratory, and based on that, they'll be removed. Additional areas would be a truck decontamination areas. So you'll see a picture right here is called a rumble strip, where the truck is rolling over, and that's really to collect any soil that's been collected on the truck. But trucks will be cleaned before leaving the site. Other things will be street sweeping, and then also site security as well. So community protection for air monitoring. So we have, right now, we have, we require a full-time environmental consultant to be at the site to record in real time dust levels. Right now, they're proposing to put 3 air monitors, 1 upwind and 2 downwind, and those will be adjusted daily based on prevailing wind directions. This full-time environmental consultant that will be monitoring this has the ability to shut down the site if action levels are exceeded, and those action levels are set by the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. And then additional mitigation measures would be in place to before work can start again. And then the real-time monitoring results will be posted in weekly status reports and uploaded to the case file and geo tracker for public viewing. So lastly, excavation and trucking. This is a relatively small site. Excavation is going to be lasting about 8 days and with about 50 trucks removing impacted soil from the site. We are pretty, I would say, the staging areas, we don't like staging areas on parking or staging areas for trucks on residential streets. So right now it's conceptual level, but we will be requiring that to be outlined in a different document called the Remedial Action Plans and Specs. Again, the trucks will not idle for more than 5 minutes, and that's to be in line with clean idling regulations. Like I said before, trucks will be deconned before leaving the site, and then they will also adhere to truck control plans and traffic control plans that are approved by the city of Oakland.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, I think that the trucks you're showing here are the actual kind of size of trucks that we would be using here. So they're not
Correct.
big rigs by any
Yeah.
stretch of the imagination.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Thanks. Okay, so I think I'll take it over here. Again, I just want to clarify, we are in the public comment right now. So we are only taking comments on the proposed methods to clean up the site. Work wouldn't actually start till about January. I have a slide later on, but our public comment period runs till, what is it, John, May 21st?
May 20th.
May 20th. Okay, so we're smack dab in the middle of it, and we're asking the public to listen to our presentation, review the actual technical documents, and give us any kind of concerns so that we can address those and make sure that we have a cleanup plan that addresses any kind of community concerns. If this project gets approved as is, work would occur Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It is heavy construction work, as you saw. There's some there's some excavators and trucks, so we would have some noise and vibrations, but those would all be within what's allowable by the City of Oakland. And then, of course, we have all the measures we talked to for community protection measures. Also, we'll have site fencing with a number to contact. That's me. I always feel so funny saying that. And privacy screening around the entirety of the site. We'll have noise dampening measures if needed. Drew talked about equipment idling and our truck route to avoid nearby schools. And then if you do have a concern during the actual work, I am your point of contact. You can call the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. They're not going to respond nearly as quickly as me. And what they'll end up doing is calling Alameda County. I have a direct line to Drew and Dylan Rowe, who's not here tonight. So if you have a concern about anything, dust, noise, trash, parking, anything, you can call me. That's my cell phone. You can call me 24/7. I really mean that. And I will talk with Alameda County. I'll talk with the construction crew. We'll figure out what's going on and how to resolve it. And then I'll close the loop with you, with anybody that calls, to make sure that they know what we've done. So I just want to stress again that, and that is the name that will be on the site along with several other people, but I think I get prominent billing. So I do encourage community members to call me if they have any type of concerns during the entirety of the remediation work. And this is our schedule. So as I said, we're in a public comment period right now. It ends May 20th. It's the 7th this evening. We have a public meeting. We'll be looking at any comments that we get and responding to them in May and June. And then the next several months, we'll take some time to come up with the design documents, the soil management plan. Those are kind of the working papers for the conceptual plan that we're presenting tonight. We'll always distribute a work notice before 10 days or a week before soil removal work starts. Then we have the remediation work itself, which is just a month long. Is that correct, Drew?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 4 weeks long, and our communications are ongoing. That's our best schedule right now. Schedules are always tentative and can change. And then finally, if you'd like to review the document in its entirety, it's called a Corrective Action Plan. Again, just a fancy name for a cleanup plan, and you can find that on GeoTracker, the Water Board's website, which is GeoTracker. It's right there, and then you can look up SAHA, Satellite Affordable Housing Associates, and St. Mary's Redevelopment. If you don't like that way of doing it, you can call me or email me, and I'll be glad to send you a link to the document. To provide comments, ask questions, you can call me or you can email your questions or mail them to my address below. And that concludes our presentation. Lizelle, I see that you've joined us. So, and I just saw your email about the link. Sorry, we were already on, so forgive me. But I'm glad you're here. And I don't know what you heard, but you're our one and only guest, so you get top billing tonight, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I also did want to let you know this is recorded, so we're happy to send a copy of the recording to you to share with either your tenants or the actual property owner.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, sorry I dropped in late.
That's okay. That's all right.
My clock in my kitchen is a little off, strangely. So yeah, I think that a lot of the concerns were addressed. So 8 days for the removal of the soil, that sounds great, right?
Right, that's right. And then advance notice. So you'll have lots of advance notice before and again during the rainy season. So that should.
Yeah, I noticed that as well, starting in
Right.
January. So that's really great. And then I guess my only other question is the overall length, the overall timeline for the whole project, because there's once the soil is removed, then there's the building, right?
Right. And we have Nicole Guzman here tonight, and she's here for exactly that reason. She's from
Yeah.
Satellite Affordable Housing Associates, and she's the one that's in charge of this project. So good that you can meet her here. And I'm going to go ahead and let Nicole talk about that.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Hi, Lizelle. So overall project timeline is 18 months of construction. So right now, the January 2026 date is tentative. It's dependent on our ability to secure some state financing. So should that change, you'll know. Unfortunately, it won't be earlier than January 2026. The next round of funding would potentially push our project to start in June 2026. With operations for the building closer to 2028. So we have a few years ahead of us, but that was a great question. Thank you.
And Nicole, if your
Yeah.
schedule changes or how would people find out? Like how would,
Yes.
if you don't get your funding, how are they going to know?
Yeah, so we do have an interest list where we notify the community. So we would be notifying you, and since we now have Lizelle's info, we'll definitely keep you in mind, and all the property owners are on the project site.
Does that work for you, Lizelle?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. I
Okay.
appreciate that. And yeah, I love the consideration of disturbing the soil in the wintertime, just so
Right.
that, tenants can close their windows and still, be comfortable. Yeah, and overall, I think it sounds like there's going to be great communication with you guys. And so if concerns do arise, we can deal with those at the time.
Absolutely. And I know that Alameda County has overseen other projects with Saha with great success. So
Okay,
yeah, I would say that
great.
they have a good working relationship and they do a good job.
Okay, wonderful. Good to hear. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from people? Okay, well then once again, public comment period ends on May 20th. You can view the document by either emailing me or calling me and I'll send it to you, or you can try your luck on GeoTracker trying to find it. It's not the easiest to navigate. My address is there. My phone number is there, 510-334-4866. You can call me or text me anytime. And there is my email. And with that, I'd just like to turn this over first to Nicole for any closing comments she may have.
Thank you. Just want to thank you all for attending and leading this presentation. Great work and looking forward to continue to work together.
Good. And then Drew, anything you wanted to say on behalf of the county?
No, I'm just happy that we had some public participation.
Right, we all are.
Really, this
Yay!
is important to have public participation and to reach out, and I'm glad we had someone. So
Me
thank
too.
you.
And I'd like to thank everybody for attending and Lyselle, you as well. And I'll send you a link to this video when it gets up, and that way you can share it with whomever would be interested. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody. Good night.